What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I am getting super close to my 2-year anniversary of taking ketones. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my 2-year update on taking ketones. So if this is your first time seeing me, hello, my name is Rachel, and about 2 years ago, I discovered these beautiful magical things called ketones, and since not only my mental health but my physical health has been completely transformed. So to give you some background, I'm going to talk about where I was 2 years ago today and how much my life has changed through taking ketones 2 years later. So I do something called ketone therapy. I take an exogenous naturally fermented ketone supplement. So flashback 2 years ago, I was at a really tough place emotionally and mentally within myself, and I had been going through a lot of personal growth, a lot of personal work to get to a place that I've always wanted to be at, and I just knew that there were a lot of things that I needed to work on with myself mentally and emotionally. So during this time, I was extremely mentally drained. I was exhausted mentally and physically. I could not focus on anything. I had a really hard time being present any sort of moment because I just wasn't happy. And to convince yourself that you're happy and you feel good in times when you really truly don't, it gets hard to keep telling yourself that lie after so long. At the time, I had been dealing with irritable bowel syndrome for over 9 years, and I also recently had found out that I had anxiety, something that I kind of thought that I always had growing up, but something that I never really put a label on. I just kind of thought that's just how I was. And my personality is that I'm very OCD, I'm very much a perfectionist, and I'm very aggressive and motivated and driven when it comes to something that I really want. So to be told that I have this quote-unquote defect of having anxiety, that's how I initially looked at it. I looked at it like I was a failure, like I did something wrong, like I wasn't leading up or living up to my expectations of myself. I understand it's something that a lot of people deal with, but for me, I just had a really hard time accepting that, and dealing with anxiety and also having irritable bowel syndrome, it really controlled a lot of my life because I was very cautious about going out in public because I have social anxiety, I have general anxiety, so being in social settings is not something that makes me feel very comfortable. And also, if I'm going out to eat, 9 times out of 10, I was going to be having an IBS flare-up afterwards. So just a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of triggers that I constantly had to be worried about. I was very tired. I would take really long naps all the time, and I just could not get myself to feel like I had any energy. I was just very drained. I was at the heaviest weight that I've ever been my entire life, and even though it was only about a 20-pound difference, it was a huge deal for me because at the time I was also going through this period in my life where I focused a lot on sugar cravings and using food to make me happy and fill the voids that I was like kind of avoiding in my life. So I actually developed, I wouldn't say an eating disorder, but I definitely was probably going on that road to develop something like that. I started binge eating cookies, and if you know me personally, you know that I love cookies, but this was aside from just a love for cookies. This was like a need for cookies to survive and stay like mentally afloat within society. And I constantly was going out and buying several packages of cookies and just burning through them like crazy and hoping that that would make me feel better. And of course, you know, you get a good sugar rush, you get that instant gratification, you feel really good, then afterwards you feel like shit and you're like, oh man, I probably shouldn't have done that. So that's just kind of like a general idea of where I was at, and I just was feeling this strong desire and urge to change my life because I wasn't happy and I wasn't feeling as fulfilled personally as I wanted to be. So I had done some research and just like researching different things. Nothing was really like, you know, tugging at my heart. And, you know, one day I was on YouTube, and for those of you again who know me, I love YouTube, and I was watching a haul one day. Nothing to do with anything that I found, but I was watching a haul one day, and on the next suggested video, it was something about this girl talking about how she found ketones and how it totally changed her life. So it was just like the next video that was coming out, so I just let it load, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, okay. She sounds like she's in a place like I am, so maybe it'll be worth a shot. Maybe it'll be worth it to watch this random video. So I watched this random video, and she was going through a very similar situation that I was in, and I'm just listening to her talk, and I'm like, holy crap, like this girl is literally speaking to me, like she's reading my mind. And I was listening to what she was saying, and she was talking about how she found these exogenous ketone supplements and how it just totally transformed her life and made it so much better. And I'm like, wow, okay, you know, it sounds too good to be true. You know, of course, when you read something like that, it's like, yeah, that's cool, that works for her, but I'm different, it's not gonna work for me, you know? So I started researching this product that she was talking about, and I started reading journal articles talking about using ketone supplements as, you know, a form of therapy to kind of make your body healthier, make your mind healthier. There's a lot of things that it can improve. So I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, maybe this thing is a real deal. Even to this day, it's a newer concept developing, so there's not thousands of research articles on it, but I read enough to where I was able to really believe and understand where she was coming from. So I found her on Facebook, I stalked her for a couple of weeks, and finally I reached out to her and I said, I want to try whatever you did because you literally were speaking directly to me. So I ordered my first experience pack on May 3rd, 2017, and I got it May 18th, 2017, and I started taking my ketones that day. So when I started taking my ketones, I honestly wasn't expecting much because I'm like, you know, like I can't change my life that much, I can't make that big of a deal. I was totally wrong. I would say maybe about a third of people will notice really crazy like changes right away, and probably about 2/3 takes a little bit of time before they start noticing a big change. I was one of those 1/3 that notices it right away, and I just remember taking my ketones that night. I was so excited to get them, and I just slept like a baby. And normally when I wake up in the morning, I sleep through every single alarm, and I'm like just snooze, snooze, snooze like crazy. I woke up the next morning, woke up to my very first alarm, and I was like, holy shit, is this what's causing this to happen? When I ate dinner that night too, I couldn't finish my dinner. I was just like already full, and normally I could just, you know, shovel it all in, but I'm like, wow, okay, this is really helping my appetite. So the longer I took it, the more that I realized, like, holy cow, this is doing a lot of changes in my body. And you know, it was making a huge difference in my anxiety, it was making a huge difference in my IBS. So I just want to give you an update today and kind of tell you, compared to when I started taking them, to how do I feel, how has my body responded to it now, 2 years later. So how I take it is I usually just take a plain bottle of water and I drink it to the label line, so that way I have a little bit of room to put the powder in. That's all it is. It's just a powder that you mix into your water or whatever else you want to mix it into, but I'm boring and I like water. I personally mix my flavors like 99% of the time just to change up the flavor of what I'm drinking. And to this day, one of my favorite mixes is the Maui Punch and the Key Lime. Just mix it up. It's super, super simple and easy to make. And I also have it in Keto Up as well. It's already pre-mixed and it's a lot stronger. So how does all that compare to where I'm at 2 years later today? To start with, IBS has been one of the biggest and one of my favorite changes that I've noticed within myself. When I was dealing with IBS, at the time had tried like everything that you can think of. I had every single test. I couldn't find anything that would make it go away. And at the time, I was having several flare-ups, at least a few a week. It's very frequent. And as soon as I started taking ketones, even to this day, 2 years later, I have yet to have an IBS flare-up. It has totally changed my body, totally changed my digestive system, and I am forever grateful for that. So before ketones, the best thing that I could possibly find that would help my IBS was peppermint oil. And I stopped taking peppermint oil completely about 6 months into ketones because I wanted to see if, you know, ketones alone could keep my symptoms away, because peppermint oil was really helpful, but I still had flare-ups, I still had symptoms, you know, it just kind of lessened the frequency. So about 6 months in, I stopped taking the peppermint oil, still didn't have any flare-ups, didn't notice any difference. And I also was prescribed to be on Lomotil, and I actually just let my Lomotil prescription run out because I never needed it, and I only took it when I had a flare-up, but I was no longer having any flare-ups, so I had no need to take the medication. So with the IBS, I had a lot of cramping, I had a lot of pain, a lot of back pain, a lot of stomach pain, just a lot of very strong stabbing symptoms, and it really was just like, it was paralyzing. Like, it would get me into a curled up fetal position, like into a ball, and I just remember crying because it was so painful and it was just awful. It was just came in little spurts, you know. It would hurt really bad, really bad, and then it'd go away for a minute or two, and then it would just come right back and dig even harder. I definitely don't miss that. I haven't had any of those pains, any of those cramps. I used to bloat really bad every single time I ate, no matter what I ate. And I mean, I still get like really mild bloating, more of like a normal light bloating, but not like you're pregnant every single time you eat kind of bloating. I don't have a lot of the gurgliness. Like, my stomach and my throat would gurgle all the time. Even if I wasn't hungry, they would just gurgle and make all these weird noises. And every once in a while I'll notice like a little bit of gurgling, but it's not like an IBS gurgle. It's more of just like a natural, your stomach's digesting kind of gurgle. And of course the flare-ups, like I said, I have yet to have an IBS flare-up in 2 years. So you go from dealing with this digestive disorder for over 9 years of your life, and then you go the next 2 years without having any symptoms, without any flare-ups. Like, it's a godsend. Like, I can't tell you how freeing that is, because I can go out in public and I can do things now that I don't have to worry about, I don't have to stress about, I don't have to think about like I used to. And then going on to the energy, I have way more energy than I ever had before. I don't need naps. I can't tell you the last time I even took a nap. You know, sometimes if I have a really long day, a nap sounds great, but I mean, in general, I'm very energized. I'm much happier, I'm much friendlier, I'm much more outgoing. Like, my mood, and I feel like kind of my personality has changed a lot because I don't have anything holding me back anymore. So I think that helps me to be a more outgoing type of person. I don't constantly feel mentally drained. I have the ability to actually focus now and be present in moments when before I just had so much mental fog that I could never actually focus and be present on, you know, whatever it was that I was doing. I was kind of always somewhere else. And with the anxiety, I noticed a huge difference. I mean, I still get anxious, you know, the normal anxiety as a, you know, a mood, but not like to the point where, you know, I had to stress out every single time I went out in public because I knew how anxious it was going to be. Or like going out in a big crowd of people. Like, I still hate crowds of people just because I like being alone, but like I don't get really anxious about being out in public anymore. I don't get really stressed out. I don't have to like fear doing things that normal people just do all the time and think nothing of. I don't notice a lot of anxiety anymore. Like, my face doesn't get red every 5 seconds like it used to. Like, sometimes it'll still get red, but I mean, it doesn't just get red because, you know, the sun came out or something stupid. Like, it would literally get red over everything, and I would constantly just feel like random bursts of anxiousness and just really big, like, shocking spurts of anxiety where I was just sweating to death and I couldn't breathe, and, you know, my palms would get sweaty, my heart starts to race. It's like I couldn't get myself to calm down and relax. My body was just like going, and it's like I couldn't get myself to come back down to, you know, a normal level. Oh, the craving. So I still love cookies, obviously. Like, I'm not gonna never eat a cookie again in my life, but I don't constantly crave them. I can walk by the aisle that has cookies in it and I'm not like, oh my god, I have to have it, you know what I mean? I don't have that, oh, like, I can't live without it. I'm not binge eating cookies all the time. My cravings have definitely changed a lot. I don't crave like salt, I don't crave junk food, I don't crave like sugary stuff. Really, if I have a craving for something, it's typically meat, some type of protein. Also, my appetite has changed a lot. So like, especially when it comes to breakfast food, I love breakfast food. Like, I could mow down some breakfast food. Like, I could get a big order and I could finish the whole thing like no problem. Now I've noticed like I can't eat as big of portions as I used to be able to. I have to order smaller meals, or if I order a bigger meal, usually I can only eat half of it and I just save the other half for another day because I can't finish it. I can't eat all the food that I used to. So that's been really nice because it stops me from overeating constantly like I probably was before. I just noticed that I'm not hungry all the time. Honestly, it's really rare that I catch myself being hungry. So like, I personally, I'll eat breakfast in the morning. I never eat lunch, so I always have my ketones at lunch. I've just never eaten lunch. That's just something I've never really done. And then I have dinner. Really what I do is I just listen to my body, and if I'm hungry any certain part of the day, I'll eat. If not, then I'll just take it as my body doesn't really need that right now. So obviously I've lost weight since I started taking ketones, and I've kept it off. I'm very normal, like happy with my weight, and I'm at a healthy point, I should say. I did lose a ton of weight to the point where I'm unhealthy. My body's changed a lot too, and that's one thing that you really start to notice when you first start taking ketones, is that your body composition changes a lot because you're burning through a lot of fat cells, and typically they take a lot of the fat cells from like the midsection, which is really nice. It's very freeing. If I had to summarize it in one word, how different my life has felt from taking ketones versus before I ever discovered them, just because I'm able to do things now that I wasn't before. YouTube, I've been wanting to do YouTube for literally years, and I constantly was holding myself back because I was caring about what other people think, and now I just care a whole lot less about what people think and a whole lot more about what I want to do. You know, like my job is to make myself happy. I'm going to do what makes me happy. You know, ketones make me incredibly happy. They've really changed my life, like genuinely from the bottom of my heart. I'm not just saying that. And, you know, if I can help anyone in any sort of way, you know, by them taking ketones, then I'm definitely going to do that. You know, maybe not everything's for everyone, but what I want to do is to help people and make them feel as good as I personally feel. So there you have it. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now with my 2-year update, my 2 years on taking ketones, and my overall transformation. I haven't missed like any long stints. Maybe sometimes I would miss a day here or there, like if I'm gone and I don't have it. But overall, yeah, it's made a really big impact on my life, and I really, really love it, and I'm very grateful for it. So I don't know if I can relate to anything that, you know, you guys are dealing with, or anything I said kind of resonates with you, but if there's anything that, you know, this might be able to help you with, then definitely let me know, and I'd be happy to, you know, share some of my wonderful, beautiful powder with you guys. I do have a website. It's called ketowithrachel.com. And if you want to try some of the different flavors and formulas first before, you know, indulging into a bigger supply, you can go to my Ecwid account, which is ketowithrachel.ecwid.com. I will leave all the information below, along with my email address, which is ketowithrachel@yahoo.com, so you guys can reach out to me if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you guys want to chat about. Please let me know. I get emails and messages all the time, so please feel free. I hope you guys enjoyed that update. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting me. If you haven't seen any of my other videos that I've made talking about my ketone journey, I will leave my playlist at the end of this video and also in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, and make sure you also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content related to this. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!